Right. Uh, okay, you can see the what we call the tutorial part I have uploaded to the LMS, right? SLFRS 16 leasing. Yes, Sanok PLC acquired a motor vehicle on 1st of April 2021 under a lease agreement as detailed below. Right, you are given the informations. So then pair value of motor vehicle, how much? 2.3 millions. Lease period 5 years. Equal annual installments. You are given how much? Rupees 606 1,800. Annual interest rate 10%, right? 10%. So useful life of the motor vehicle 5 years. Residual value 300,000. Then we need to what we call the calculate, and we need to find out, we need to show those things in credible journal entries. We need to show them. So how do we do that? First, to know the accounts we need to create. So what are the accounts we need to create? Can you remember? So please try to do this task quickly. I'll give you 5 minutes. First, you need to create right of use assessment. Right of use assessed account. Then after this liability account. These two are the major account we need to create at the initially as well as subsequent. Right? You remember. Identify the right of use assessed value and the lease liability. So here you can see they acquired a motor vehicle on 1st of April 2021. So we need to show the journal entries ended 31st March 2022. So then 1 year period you have. So another what we call the requirement is what? You are given the pair value of the motor vehicle. So this is the pair value we acquired under the lease agreement. So then after lease period, equal installment also you are given. So then how do we calculate this, Alex? How do we calculate? Right? So fair value of the motor vehicle, how much? 2.3 million. So then we need to consider this amount as the collection, so the combination of lease liability. So therefore, we can directly deposit this amount as here 1st of April, right of use assessed 2,300. Since this is what the fair value, fair value. So then we can directly debit. If you are given the fair value, the particular assets, you can directly put that value in the ledger, right? So then here, 1st of April, lease liability, right? Lease liability. This is the amount. Then, so you are given the lease period and equal annual installment. So this is the amount we need to recognize at initially in our accounts, right? මේ amounts දෙක තමයි fair value එකට දීලා තියෙනවා නම් fair value එක තමයි අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ initially, right? So then these are the two amounts we need to record in the financial statements or the ledger account at the initial. So then how do we record, how do we report, how do we do the subsequent what we call the recording? So if it is right of use assets, what is the procedure? How do we record the right of use assets and subsequent? කොහොමද අපි පසු කාලීනව මේ භාවිතික සහිතවත් කරන්නේ? Quickly, let me know. How do we record? Huh? How do we recognize? How do we recognize? Yes, good, Taruka. So we need to recognize according to the LKS 16. So then first we need to recognize the depreciation. So then again we need to create depreciation account. Depreciation account. And we need to open accumulated depreciation account as how do we calculate the depreciation? You are given the fair value and as well as the residual values. So then after useful life, so then how much will be the depreciation? Depreciation, how do we calculate? Fair value minus residual value divided by the years. This is the way how do we calculate the depreciations according to the LK 16. LK 16. So then we can calculate the depreciation as 400. 400, right? 400. So then depreciation account debit as accumulated depreciation 400. Accumulated depreciation account debit, sorry, credit depreciation. Right? So then we can close the right of use assessed account 2,300. 2,300. Right of use assessed is okay. So then lease liability. So what is the procedure in lease liability? How do we record in the lease liability account? How do we record? Yes, please. So how do we record the transactions in lease liability account and subsequent? So we did one example as well. Quickly let me. Yes, liability account credit. So what we credit, what amount we should credit into the liability account? Sorry, I have done a mistake, right? Yes, good, good. I have done one mistake here. What is that? So please let me know, right? So sometime I have it. Yes, yes, that is fine. So then, first of April, lease liability 2,300 is 2,300. There, first of April, right of use assets 2,300. Yes, thank you. Then first we need to add the interest. So then how do we calculate the interest? Interest. This is the obligation. This is the obligation we have. So then 2,300. So what is the annual interest rate? 10%. 10%. So then interest how much? 230. So then interest account debit, lease liability account credit, right? So we need to create interest account, debit, lease liability, right? So then we need to get the summations. How do we calculate it? 2,530. Then after installment we need to deduct. Installment how much? 606.8. And cash account, I'll create cash account as well. Cash account credit is liability. So then we can get BCF as right. This is the way. This is the total liability we have. This is the total liability we have. So then how do we recognize this? This is total liability amount. Total liability. How do we split total liability into, how do we recognize non-current liabilities and current liabilities separate? How do we recognize? How do we recognize? May I erase these things? Depreciation accumulated and this one. May erase karanda ayinkaladan. Quickly let me know. Should I erase depreciation account or accumulated depreciations and workings to do the balance part? I'll erase them, right? No any responses, then I'll erase. Yes. How do we recognize? So how do we recognize the current liability portions? Total liability, how much? Total liability 1,922.3. So then we need to split, or we need to recognize current liability and non-current liability portion separate. Non-current liabilities, how do we recognize? Current liabilities, how do we recognize? Right? Then how do we recognize? So first thing, current liability. We have the annual installment payment for the next year. How much? 606.8. So this is the installment. Installment. We need to find out what capital repayment. Capital repayment. Liability. So how do we calculate it? We need to deduct the interest which should pay in next year. So how do we calculate the interest? So this is the obligation we had. Then we can get 10% over this amount next year as well. So then interest how much? 193.2. 193.3. Sorry, 2. Then interest we can deduct. Then current liability portion how much? 6. So 6.8. 193.2. 413.2. So this is the current liability portion. Right? This is the current liability portion. How do we get that? This is the way. So then how do we calculate the non-current? So total liability we have total liability. How much? This is the total amount we have at the end of the right. Yes, interest has taken. Good, thank you. How much? So then 606.8 minus 192.3 is 414.3. Total liability how much? This is the amount. Then we need to deduct the current liability portions. How much? 414.3. Then we can get the non-current liability portion. How much? Then 1508.9. Yes, this is filing. Then filing. Then 7. So this is the answer. These are the answers. You need to identify and separate. Is that clear? So if you have any question, you can ask. Quickly, right? Do you have any question? Pramod, I couldn't get you question. प्रश्न මට පැහැදිලි. I can't hear your question. Ah, yes, yes. Fixed interest rate එකක් තියෙනවා. Fixed interest rate කියන එක මට තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. Fixed interest කියන්නේ fixed installment එකක් තියෙන, right? පොලියක් නෙමෙයි. Installment එක fix. 606,800. Interest rate එක 10%. ඒක fix වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක liability එකත් එක්කනේ හදන්නේ. Yes. Hope the question is clear. Right. So we'll move to the question number two. Question number two. First, read the question. URL Manufacturing Limited entered for a contract with WPA leasing company. According to the contract, material will be provided for a 4-year period subject to the following lease payments. So then you can see here, these are variable payment, so not the fixed payment. There is a agreed lease incentive payments during the year 3 and 4, right? There's a agreed lease incentive payment during the year and 4 based on the performance of the machine. If the output is more than 100,000 unit per annum without any major effects, it is required to make additional payment 25,000. මොකද කියන්නේ output එක ලක්ෂයකට වඩා වැඩි වුණොත් අවුරුද්දකට major affairs නැතුව ඒක අවශ්‍ය වෙනවලු additional payment එකක් ගෙවන්න රුපියල් 25,000ක් අවුරුද්දට. In addition to the above, there is a requirement of residual payment of rupees 150,000 at the end of the lease period in order to obtain the ownership of the assets. Implied rate of interest is 12%. So the relevant journal entry. First, you need to identify the cash flows. And is the question clear? First, so please just try to do the example. So then after I will explain. Please take 10 minutes, right? So if you have any question from the or any problem regarding the question, you can ask. ප්‍රශ්නේ තේරෙන්නේ නැත්නම් තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න පුළුවන්. කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. මම නැත්තම් විනාඩි 10ක් කරගෙන හදන්න. Right. So hope you are doing. Hope you are doing. First, you need to identify the cash flows. So what are the cash flows? Right. So then, you know that what are the accounts we need? Right of use assessed account. Right of use assessed account. So then after, what account we need? Lease liability we need. Yes, good. Thank you so much, Prasadi, for the reply. So then, other than that, you know that we need depreciation account and accumulated depreciation account. Accumulated depreciation account. Then after, other than that, what account we need? Quick, let me know. Yes, good interest, interest. Interest account we need. Right. So these are the accounts we need. Okay. And you know that first we need to identify. And initially, we need to recognize the amount of right of use assets as well as lease liability. Then, firstly, we need to identify the lease liability and right of use assets amount. So then, which one we should recognize earlier? So it means, should we calculate right of use assets first, or should we calculate lease liability first? So what account we should create first? Which one we should create first? Right of use assets or lease liability? Yes. So can we create? So yes, can we create right of use account before identifying the lease liability? Can't we? So therefore we need to first identify the lease liability. Lease liability. How do we recognize the lease liability? Yes, I'll create them under the working, right? You know that lease liability means we need to find out the present value of the all the payments. සියලුම payments වල present value එක හොයාගන්න ඕනේ. So remember last day also we did. How do we recognize that? You can see these are the payments. The installments, and other than that we have to pay the additional payment in year 3 and year 4, and residual payment also we have. So then we can create a table like this. You remember we did at first day as well. Description. So then year 0, we have OS 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, likewise 4 years we need. Then, so these are the installment. At the end of the first year, how much we should pay? At the end of the second year, how much we should pay? And third year and fourth year. So then based on that, you can create the installment description, installment 450 at the end of the first year, 450, 400 at the end of the second year, again 400 at the end of the third year, and finally 100. So these are the installment we should pay. Installment මේවා තමයි pay කරන්නේ. These are the installment we should pay. Right? So other than these payments, you can see here, there's a agreed lease incentive payments. Again, there's a payment. So during the year 3 and 4, based on the performance of the machine, if the output is more than 100,000 units per annum without any major repairs, it is required to make an additional payment rupees 24,000 per annum. So then we need to record 25,000. So incentive payments, right? Incentive payments. No any payment is 0 and 1. Incentive pay. And then after, in addition to the above, there is a requirement of residual payment of rupees 150,000. Now, yes, there's a residual payment as well. Residual payment 150,000. You know that we need to pay that 150,000. So then total cash flow you can calculate like this. Total cash flow. Total cash flow 450, 400, 425, 275. 270. Next step is what? Now we know the cash flow, the payment for each year. Then දන්නවා කොච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක් හැම අවුරුද්දෙම ගෙවන්න ඕන කියන එක අපි දානවා. So then next step is what? මොකක්ද ඊළඟ step එක? So what would be the next step? What would be the next step? Yes, not the interest actually. We need to find out the present value. We need to find out the present value. So you are given the what we call the discounting rate. Then you need to calculate the discounting factor. Discounting factor. Interest rate how much? Interest 12%. 12%. So when using discount factor, you know obviously 1 means 0 means 1. So then you need to calculate the discounting factor by using this interest rate. So how do we calculate the interest factor? So what is the formula? What is the formula? Formula is what? 1 divided by 1 plus r power to the n. So this is the formula, right? So quickly find the discounting factor for these four passes. Quickly find 1 divided by 1 plus r power to the n. N means number of years. For the first year, what is the discounting factor? No, see that is wrong, right? So what is the discounting factor for the first year? Interest rate is 12%. So what is the discount factor? Yes. Anyone? What is the discounting factor? Wrong, wrong, still wrong. I'm receiving different kind of answers. So what is the correct answer? Yes, good. I'm receiving the correct answer. How much? 0.89203, right? 203. Both are correct. 203. I just take 3. So then next one, 1.2 power 2, 1 divided by that answer, 0.797. Then for the next one, 1.2, 3, 1 divided by 0.1, sorry, 0.712. It's good. And third one, 1.12, 0.635 or 635 or 6. Both are correct. I'll take 6, right? Yes, you know how do we calculate the discount effect? Now you know. Good. Excellent. So then after we need to find out what? Then after we need to find out the discounted payment. How do we calculate it? You need to multiply this cash flow. You need to get the multiplication of this cash flow by discounting factor. So then you will receive the discounted cash flows. How do we? 450 multiplied by 0.893, 401.85. So you can round up it. So then up to 400 multiplied by 797. 125 multiplied by 7. Please check my answer with you, right? So if there's any mistake I have done, please let me know quickly. So these are the values or the present value. So then you know that we need to get the summation of all the cash flows. We call them as lease liability. So how much be the lease liability? 401.9, 318.8, 302.6, 174.6. So it's almost 1198. Right, so we can round up this value into 1,200, right? 1,200 with decimal places. You remember we removed some decimal places. So you can round up this value into 1,200 for the multiplication purpose. So then you can round up this value into this amount. right? Now you know the lease liability, you can record it. How do we record it? Right of use assessed 1200, lease liability 1200. Then you know all the process then after. Depreciations, how do we calculate? There are 4 years. So then 1200 divided by 4. Depreciation how much? Accumulated depreciation 300. Here, depreciation 300. Is that clear? Is that clear? So then after we can close the right of use assist account 100, 2000, 100, sorry, 1200. BCF 1200. Then after you know how do we close the lease liability? This one should multiply by 12%. So you can get the interest for the next year. How much? 100,200 multiplied by 0.12. Right, this is the interest amount. So then you can get the all the amount, and interest you can record it as interest. Come to the interest account. Right. So then after cash, cash how much? The first payment you need to record. First payment how much? 450. Then total liability you can get like this. 894. So this is the total liability amount. Total liability. How much? 894. So then you can split them into two, current liability and non-current liability. So find the current liability and non-current liability. You know the way. Quickly find the current liability and non-current liability. Quickly find the answer and let me know. Quickly find the answer. So how much is the non-current liability and current liability? Sorry, I have muted me. So any doubt up to you? Any doubt up to you? Quickly let me know. Is that clear? Right, eh? Is that clear? So then no need to worry about that. So then question number three. Question number three. Uh, I'll break down, right? So I'll create a group for you all. So you can group discuss with your group members and please come with the answer, right? I will give you the tasks 15 minutes, right? විනාඩි 15ක් දෙනවා. ඔයාලට group කරනවා දැන් මම. group එකේ members ලත් එක්ක discuss කරලා answers අරගෙන එන්න. හැබැයි අනිවාර්යෙන්ම group members ලත් එක්ක discuss කළ යුතුයි. මම group වලට එනවා. ඔයාලට ඔයාලා මේ question එකට answer එක හොයාගෙන එන්න. right? I'll not explain. I will just test the answers. I will match with. I will match your answers with other groups. So then we'll discuss. Right? Definitely you come with the answers, right? ABC Limited prepare the financial statement to 31st March each year. On 1st of April 2021, ABC Limited began to lease a property on a 10-year lease. The annual lease payment were rupees 500,000, payables in arrears. The first payment being made on 31st March 2022. ABC Limited incurred initial direct cost of rupees 60,000 in arranging this lease. The annual rate of interest implicit in the lease is 10%. When the annual discount rate is 10%, the present value of ₹1 payable at the end of the years 1 to 10 is 6.145. Explain, show how this transaction would be recorded in the financial statement of ABC Limited for the year ended 31st March 2023. So then second year, right? So now I'll create group for you so you can discuss with your members quickly.
මේ කවුරුහරි ස්ක්‍රීන් ෂෙයා කරන්න ඔය ගාන මගේ ගාව ඒක නැහැ.
Live audit members නැද්ද?
දන්නේ නැහැ නේද?
So සෙව්වන්දි, උදේශා, ලග්මාලි, නවම්‍ය, ආයුධය. So anyhow, please come with the answer.
රුපියල් 6 101 තියෙන එක.
මටත් ඒක තමයි තේරෙන්නේ නැත්තේ. ඒක මොකක් හරි අර ප්‍රසන්ට් මේ වැලියු එක ගන්න එකේ මොකක් හරි එකක් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ
ඔක
මොකක්ද කියලා හරියට
වර්තමාන අගය කියලා ඒක ගන්නවා නේද?
වර්තමාන අගය
වර්තමාන
හදාගන්න
අගය වර්තමාන අගය හදලා තමයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට අපි ෂෙයා කර කර ඒක ගන්න ඕනේ නේද? මතකද වෙලාවල් කරේ? වර්තමාන අගය තමයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ මාසෙට 10ක් ඇතුළත. අර අපි ෂෙයා කර කර ගන්නේ. පොඩ්ඩක් හදලා බලමු. ඔව් ඒක තමයි නේද?
එකපාරම 6.4යි පහෙන් ගුණ කරන්න බෑනේ. එතකොට ගන්න බෑනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ එක එක වසරවල වල තියෙන එක එක ප්‍රමාණයෙන් ගුණ වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ දශම ගානෙන් ගුණ වෙන්න ඕනේ. හොයලා බලමුද? එක එකන හොයලා බලමු. එතකොට ඔක්කොගෙම එක සමාන වෙනවා නම් උත්තරේ හරි කියලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. Initial direct cost එක 60,000
At the end of year 1 to 10 in the rupees 6 point අන්න ඒකයක් තමයි මට තේරෙන්නේ.
එතන තියෙන ශුද්ධ වර්තමානගේ මොකක් හරි එකක් නේද?
ඔව් එහෙම නම present value යන්නේ වර්තමානයෙන් present value කියන්නේ. එතකොට අනේ බලන්න චුට්ටක් එක හදලා බලන්න.
මේ වේල්ලා මැද එඩිට් අවුලටවත් දාලා නැහැ.
ඔව් අවුරුදු 10ක තමයිනේ.
ඔව් ඉස්කේකේ මාත් ඔව් අවුරුද්දක් ඍජු පිරිවැය.
Right. After dividing you all into groups, so you can see the participant number of participants, it has reduced to 47. Right? Yes. So how do we do that? Is there any group who did that activity? Group number 1. Group number 1. So group number 2. Group number 1, I remember only one name, Lahiru. And Lahiru and Lakmali, I remember it. So have you completed it? So then group number 2, Rashmi.
No, sir.
Right. So then group number 3. Actually, others are not discussing very well, so I can't remember their name as well. Group number 4 also discussing about the example, but all other groups are silent, right? So actually, I'm giving these tasks to communicate your knowledge or disseminate your knowledge with others. So if you disseminate, or if you distribute your knowledge with others, definitely the explanation part will be remaining. So then if these all the activities I'm doing for the betterment of you, right? So then we'll discuss the answer quickly. And I'll stop the recording as well, right? Since the most of the student has left the meeting. So therefore I'll stop the yes, we discuss those things. Yes. We need to discuss this part. We need to discuss this part of lesser accounting. So far we explain, so far we discuss how do we account at the lesser point of view. Sorry, lessee point of view. කොහොමද මේ කල්පතු ගැනුම් කරුගේ පැත්තෙන් කොහොමද මේක කරන්නේ කියන එක අපි සාකච්ඡා. Right? So then let's move how do we account, how do we do the transactions, right? How do we do the transaction at the lesser point of view? කල්බදු දීමනාකරු පැත්තෙන් කොහොමද එයාගේ පැත්තේ ගිණුම් තියන්නේ? කොහොමද ගල්මන් කල්බදු දීමනාකරු එයාගේ ගිණුම් කටයුතු කරන්නේ? Right? You know that at the lessee point of view, right? At the lessee point of view, there is no any classification in the lease. කල්බදු වල මේ වර්ගීකරණයක් නැහැ. කල්බදු ගැනුම්කරුගේ පැත්තෙන් ගිණුම් තියද්දි වර්ගීකරණයක් නැහැ. Right? First you need to identify whether it is an identified asset. Identified asset කියලා හඳුනා ගන්නවා. So then after you need to identify whether they are generating all the substantial benefits. නේ? ඊළඟට සියලු මාර්ගික ප්‍රතිලාභ දෙනවාද කියලා හඳුනා ගන්න ඕනේ. So then after, so can we handle or can we direct that particular access? ඒ ටික තමයි ගැනුම් කරු පැත්තෙන් හඳුනාගත්තේ. අදාළ කල්බද්ද හඳුනාගන්න. So then we need to recognize the lease liability and right of use assessed value, right? And interest and depreciation as well. So then how do we record, how do we recognize the lease transaction at the lesser point of view? කොහොමද මේ කල්බදු දීමනාකරු පැත්තේ? But please keep in mind, we are not discussing more detail about this. So just I'll explain the theoretical thing, right? So we did more calculation part at the lessee point of view, since that is the most important part, right? Right, so then yes. Anyhow, so please ask to please share your notes with other friends. So I have received the message, so I'll accept them. So anyhow, please share your notes with them so they can manage it. Right. So lesser accounting. How do we recognize? Initial recognitions and measurement. කොහොමද අපි මූලිකව හඳුනගන්නේ? Right? How do we recognize? Lesser classify all the leases using the same classification principles in LKS 17. So I explained you in LKS 17 we had a classification for the lease, right? We had a classification. So with that, with the amendments of the SLFRS 16, at the lessee point of view, we removed that. So then there is no classification. But all the classifications remain in the accounts if it is at the lesser point of view, right? Because LKS 17 වලින් SLFRS 16 වලට සිට් වෙද්දී මොකද්ද උනේ අර classification එක නැති වුණා කියලා lessee ගේ perspective. නමුත් lessor ගේ perspective එකේදී ඒක හැම තියෙනවා. No any difference or no any things happen. Right? So and distinguish between two type of leases, operating and financial leases. එතනදී තියෙනවා මෙහෙයුම් කල්පද්ද හා මූල්‍ය කල්පද්ද කියන දෙකම එයා ගල්පදු ගැනුම් කරු දීමනාකරුගේ පැත්තෙන් එයා වාර්තා කරනවා. Right? So then if it is operating lease, right? If it is operating lease, මොකද්ද මෙහෙයුම් කල්පද්දක් කියලා කියන්නේ? මෙතනදී වෙන්නේ අදාළ වත්කම රෙන්ට් එකට දෙන්න. Right? තියාගන්න අයිතිවාසිකම් දරන්න බෑ. නැත්තම් එයාට ඕන විදිහට හසුරවන්න බෑ. ඒකට කල්බදු ගැනුම් කරු මම නම් ඔයාලා දීමනාකරු ඔයාලා කල්බදු ගැනුම් කරුව මම දීමනාකරු නම් මම ඔයාලට බද්දට වාහනේ නැත්තම් කල්බද්දට වාහනයක් හරි මොකක් හරි එකක් දෙන්නේ මේ බදු ප්‍රමාණයක් ගෙවනවා. ඔයාලා මාසිකව හෝ මාසිකව කල්බද්දේ වටිනාකම ගෙවන්න ඕනි කුලියක් විදියට. Right? So if you are providing such kind of leases, or if you are providing such kind of assets under lease, then we need to recognize them as operating lease. Then how do we recognize them in the their records? If it is operating lease, they have recognized as an asset. ඒක operating lease එකක් නම් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම කල්බදු දීමනාකම එක වත්කමක් විදිහට හඳුනා ගන්න ඕනේ. එයා ඒක කුලියට දීලා දෙන. අපි උදාහරණයක් විදිහට බිල්ඩින් එකක් ගත්තොත් එම් බිල්ඩින් එකක් කුලියට දුන්නොත් එම් බිල්ඩින් එක වත්කමක් දෙනවා. So then please keep in mind, if it is operating lease, then they have to recognize it as assets. So if it is finance lease, ඒක මූල්‍ය කල්පද්ද. මූල්‍ය කල්පද්දද මොකද වෙන්නේ? අර මම කල්බදු දීමනාකරු ඔබ ගැනුම් කරු මම දෙන කල්පද්ද ඔයාට පුළුවන් හසුරවන්න ඕන විදියට ඔයාට ප්‍රතිලාභ ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So then lessor cannot recognize as an asset at the moment. Right? එහෙම වුණොත් මොකද වෙන්නේ? lessor ට හඳුනා ගන්න බෑ ඒක වත්කමක් විදියට. Then de-recognize the underlying assets and recognize net investment in the lease similar to the today values. The today's requirement. So then, if lesser providing the particular assets under the finance list, they cannot recognize it as assets. Then they have to recognize it as investment in the lease, similar to this, right? So when it's come to subsequent measurement, then පසුකාලීන කොහොමද හඳුනගන්නේ? If it is subsequently, if it is for operating lease, the lessor recognize the lease income on either straight line basis or another systematic basis. මං කිව්වා දැන් මේ operating lease එකක් නම් වත්කමක් කුලියට දෙන්නේ. මම කල්බදු කියන්නේ දීමනා කරුණා ඔයාලම වත්කමක් කුලියට දෙන්නේ. ඒ කුලියට දුන්නාට පස්සේ වෙන්නේ මොකද? Over month or over year. So you can earn, I can earn the income. මට පුළුවන් ඒ කුලිය ආදායම. So then if it is operating lease, we can recognize the lease income, right? Lease income එක earn කරන්න පුළුවන්. Lease income එක record කරන්න පුළුවන්. But when it comes to the finance lease, so then here we can't recognize it as assets. Then only we can recognize the interest income, right? Interest income is the main source for the accretion of the net investment. අපි ඒක මම දීලා තියෙන ඔයාලට ඒක net investment එක, right? So then this is the procedures we need to recognize in the lesser point of view. So just go through these slide shows. We are not explaining any calculation part to this. Just you need to know the classifications and how do we recognize and the measure, right? That's all about the lease SLFRS 16, right? Yes. If you have any question up to here, you can ask, or then if you don't have, we can stop the lecture. So if you have any question, you can ask. So practice the question I discussed with you, right? More, and please prepare the classroom test as well. Next Tuesday, I'll explain with you the SLFRS 15, and then Thursday, I'll explain with you the LKS 37, right? LKS 37. Then after you will have the classroom test. You will have the classroom test. Please note down, right? Classroom test you will have 15, 22, 29th Thursday. 29th Thursday, you will have the classroom test. Twenty-ninth at 10:30 AM to 11:30 AM. 1 hour, right? So there are 30 MCQ type question, right? Please note down.